Here we are in Google Drive looking at how to use Google Drawings to make a concept map. We've made some concept maps with other tools in the past, but the advantage of Google Drawings is it's really easy to turn in through Google Classroom. So this is what we'll do. First of all, click New, and you'll see no drawings down there, but if you go to More, extra things you can do pop up over here. And you can see there's sites and maps and forms for me, and I need to check out what that fluency tutor is because I've never noticed it before. But I'm going to click on Google Drawings right now. So when our new document loads up, it's got squares everywhere, and what that says in lots of graphics programs is that the software is ready to produce a transparent background, and that can be really handy for web pages and various places you might put a picture where it can overlap other things and parts of them will show, but we don't need that for a concept map. So I could fix that by putting a shape in there, and I could make my shape colourful and I'd have a coloured background. But if I expanded my canvas, I'd still have see-through bits. So there's a better way. I'm just going to click that and hit my delete key. So if I go right click on the background and choose background here, come across, and I can go solid or gradient. Let's try gradient, why not? And I might decide I'm going to have this kind of a look or this. Okay, and I can put my shapes on there. Or if I don't like that, I can go background again, I can go solid, and I can say it's just going to be a plain white background. Doesn't matter what you do, but those are your options. So I can make that a bit wider again. You can only drag it to the edge of the screen, then it pops to the middle. That gives me a good large space to start making my concept map, and I can stretch it again later with that little diagonal edge bit. Oh, doesn't show there. If I want to, I can resize it later. Just grab that corner and drag. Okay, so I'm going to use shapes to put my words in for my concept map. And I quite like rounded rectangles for this kind of thing, so that's that there. By default, the first shape I make seems to be filled in blue every time. Might be different for you. And we're going to link two concepts together on our concept map this time. So I'm looking at sustainability, and you can see that's off to one side a bit, so I can click on there and I can align it with the middle of my shape, center there. Okay, and to make another shape just the same dimensions without having to go through shapes and everything again, I can hold down my control key after selecting it, click my C key, I'm still holding my control key, and I click my V key to paste another one. So I drag that over here and it's now lined up middle with middle. Now I don't want sustainability twice. As it happens, our other concept is design. So I've got two of those. And what I'm going to do in a concept map is relate these to all the other ideas I can associate with them. One's just about design will end up around here. One's just about sustainability will end up around here. Ones that I want to link to both can be anywhere through the middle. So if we just Control C, Control V, get another one of those, we can start thinking, okay, what are the ideas I associate with these? We're going to color code it so that blue is only for our concepts. Oops, I always right click to change the color, but because I use other graphics software, but in here I go to the bucket. And let's say these ones are going to be green. Okay, so Control C, Control V, 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 because I'm going to need a few things here. So I could get carried away. I could have one colour for ideas about sustainability, one for ideas about design, one for both. But I'm just going to have a colour for the concepts, a colour for the ideas, and a third colour for the explanations of how the ideas are linked to the concepts. So I'm going to put here something about invent things that don't harm environment. Okay, that doesn't fit in my box, so I can drag the top of my box a bit till it fits. And I think that connects with both in a big way. That's a lot of words. It doesn't have to be a lot of words, but it can. So I think an idea about design is that you have a brief. And another idea about design that's important to me is test things. Oh, I'll put test and refine. And an idea that I have about sustainability is what happens when you throw things out. Okay, so you can buy the right thing, but eventually it might break and you might need to throw it away. So your idea can be a question. We're going to go on further and develop questions, but if your idea is a question now, that's just fine. Another thing about sustainability that really interests me at the moment is carbon, because of carbon dioxide being a greenhouse gas. And another thing that interests me is fairness, because when we want more carbon to fuel our cars, some countries take it from other countries by having a war, and that's about fairness. So I could just keep on till I had loads and loads of ideas. I could make my canvas bigger if I needed to, and then I might need to zoom out to fit everything in. So I'm going to hold down my control key and hit my minus key, my minus and underscore key. Oh, it's going in. Okay, it should be going out. That's back to front, people. Okay, I'm hitting my plus key and it's going out. Most other graphics programs go the other way. Ah, what it's doing is making my words larger. Okay, make my words quite small. How am I going to zoom on the canvas itself? View. Right, okay, you have to do it up there. And then, of course, I can make my canvas larger. Oops, can I drag it? No, I have to scroll. But for now, we'll go back as we were. Because we need to connect these up, and you need to be able to see what I'm doing. So up here we have line tools, and there's a drop down. You can see there's several possibilities here. Both the arrow tool and the curved connector are pretty handy. I quite like the curved connector. I like the way it looks, so I can connect that shape to that shape. I can connect that shape to that shape. I can connect that shape to that shape because it's fine to connect two things to one. I might even say that there's a connection here, and I can put arrows on these. Whoops. Sometimes when you're trying to select one, you end up making another thingy there. It seems to be alright when that four-sided arrow turns up over them. And you can, up here, put arrows on the end, so you can be fussy about which arrow it is if you want. And you can make the lines thicker, you can make them dotted, you can do all kinds of things that you want to do. Right, I'm going to duplicate this, Control C, Control V, going to change its colour for all my explanations. Oops, I keep doing it that way. Let's say my explanations are going to be that sort of peachy colour. So, I'll just make a few spares because I can drag them around the place. can put that there, and I can explain safe disposal or safe dumping. So it's not just about when you're making the product or when you're using it to be sustainable, it has to be safe for the environment when you've finished using it as well. Okay, sometimes you make something like this and it turns out to be underneath your arrow. So this is arrange and order. So at the moment it's on top. I can send it backwards. Oh, it didn't go all the way backwards. Arrange, order, send to back. But if I was having this problem and my arrow was in front of it, then I can go arrange, order, bring to front, or bring forward. So eventually you're going to have little labels on all of your arrows that don't say carbon but actually say why this idea is there. I'll just put a question mark as a placeholder for now. And everything will be joined up. Now if you find that you do have to make your canvas larger and you need to move things, I'll just delete that one to show you. Whoops, delete. When they're joined up, usually if you have to move them, the arrows will come with you, which is super handy. But also, if I just zoom out a little bit, view, okay, we'll do it this way again. I can select all of these things and I can stretch them to fit my new enlarged canvas. So it is quite flexible. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Oh, don't forget to name your file. I think a name will come through from Google Classroom, but if it didn't, make sure your name is in the file name. Okay, thank you.